Good everyone, and welcome to an amazing session with the Elite Tutor where learning is made very simple. And in today's video, we are going to be looking at an interesting concept, which is the concept of quadratic equation. And in this video, we are going to be showing you how to solve questions involving quadratic equation. And I want you to listen and follow till the end. Now we have our very first question. We have question 1, we have x squared plus 7x plus 12. Now we have this quadratic equation. How do we tackle this? Now the first thing we are going to do, we are going to multiply the first term and the last term. We are going to multiply the first term and the last term. Now, when we say the first term here we have x squared, but we are talking about the coefficient of the first term. We are talking about the coefficient of the first term. What do I mean? We are simply saying the number that is attached to the first term. Now, what number is attached to x squared is 1. Because when we have a single variable or a single alphabet, when we have x or y, the coefficient of x is 1. Now, the coefficient of x here is 1. And then our last term here is 12. So we are going to multiply the first term and the last term, which is 1 times 12. 1 times 12 gives us 12. Now, what is the next step? Please pay attention. We are going to look for two numbers that when we multiply, will give us 12, and when we sum, will give us the middle number, which is what? 7. And don't forget this middle number, please take note of the sign. Most students, they make mistake when solving quadratic equation because they don't pay attention to the sign. So we look for two numbers that when we multiply gives us 12, and when we sum gives us the middle number. And the middle number here is positive 7. So what are those two numbers? Now, if we think very well, we'll see that those two numbers are 4 and 3. How do I know? 4 times 3 gives us 12. And if we sum it, 4 plus 3 gives us 7. So those two numbers, they meet up the criteria. So what are we going to do? Those two numbers, they are going to replace the middle number. Now let's do that. So we have x squared plus 4x plus 3x plus 12. So instead of writing 7x, we have 4x plus 3x. And that's why we see how 4x plus 3x just gives us 7x. Now we've been able to express 7x in form of 4x and 3x. Now the next step, we are going to what? Put in brackets. Now we are going to group them. So we have 3x plus 4x in one bracket, and we have 3x plus 12 in another bracket. Now, what's the next step we are going to do? Now we are going to simply factorize. What do we mean? What are we trying to say? We are going to look for what is common between both, what is common in this bracket, and also what is also common in that other bracket. Now let's look at our first bracket. What's common in this particular bracket? When we say what is common, we are simply saying what can divide each of these items, and we'll still have a whole number. And what's common here, if you look closely, we'll see that x is common. So we have x here, and then x squared divided by x, we have x plus 4. And then we go over here, and we try to look for what is common. And one of the secrets to ensuring that your solving is correct is whenever you are solving and you're trying to factorize, whatsoever is in this bracket will be the same thing that is also in this bracket. Now let's look at what is common now. We have this item 3x and 12. So what is common here? X is not common here because we have 3x, but we don't have what? X here. So what is common is 3. How do I know? 3x divided by 3 gives 3x divided by what is common is 3. How do I know? 3x divided by 3 gives us x, which is a whole item, which is a variable, and 12 divided by 3 will give us what? 4. Now, since what is common here is what? 3. So we have what? 3x divided by 3 will give us x, and 12 divided by 3 will give us what? 4. And if you look closely, you will see that what is inside this bracket is same thing as what is inside this bracket. Now we are going to bring what is what outside. We have x is outside here, one bracket, and then we have our positive what? 3. And then we pick any of the bracket, which is what? X plus 4. Now we've been able to what? Factorize. And then this will be our final answer. But there are times when some questions might ask you to find the roots of the quadratic equation. There are times when some questions might ask you to find the root of quadratic equation. I want you to watch this video to the end, because towards the end, I'm going to be showing you how to find the root in a quadratic word equation. Now let's move to example 2. Now we have example 2. We have x squared minus x minus 12. Same method we applied here, we are going to apply same method here. This question is very unique because you can see we have x squared here, no number attached, minus x, no number attached. But like I told you earlier, when we have a single variable, the coefficient is 1. So same method here, we are going to multiply the number, the coefficient of the first term multiplied by our last term. Now don't forget, like I said, one mistake that students always make is they don't take into consideration their signs. When I'm talking about signs, I'm talking about the positive and the negative sign. We are looking at what? The coefficient of x squared is 1 multiplied by our last number. Our last number is not 12. Because when we say 12, 12 is positive 12, that's plus 12. But our last number here is minus 12. So we have, let me write here. So we have 1 times minus 12, which will give us minus 12. Now at this point, we look for two numbers that when we multiply, gives us minus 12, and when we sum, will give us minus 1. How is it minus 1? The coefficient of x is 1, and don't forget you have a minus sign. So what are those two numbers that when you multiply gives us minus 12, and when you sum gives us negative 1? So those numbers we have minus 4 and positive 3. How do I know? Minus 4 times 3 gives us negative 12, and minus 4 plus 3 gives us negative 1. So we are going to replace our middle value with minus 4 and plus 3. So we can rewrite this to be x squared minus 4x plus 3x minus 12. And then we can go ahead to group it. So we have x squared minus 4x in one bracket, and we have 3x minus 12 in another bracket. Now this point, we are going to look for what is common. We are going to try factorizing. Now what is common here? We have x squared and we have minus 4x. So what is common here is x. So we have what? X is common. X squared divided by x gives us what? X. Don't forget minus sign. And then we have 4x divided by x, we have what? 4 here. Now we look at this bracket, what is common here? So what is common here is what? 3. So we have 3 here. So 3x divided by 3 gives us x. And then don't forget this is your negative sign. And 12 divided by 3 gives us what? 4. So you can see x minus 4 is inside this bracket and x minus 4 is inside this bracket. For you to know that you're correct, the both brackets must be same. And then you bring out what is outside, which is x plus 3. And then you pick any of the bracket, which is what? X minus 4. And then you've been able to factorize completely. Now, I'm going to give you a little task to do. I want you to look at number 3. Number 3 we have 6x squared plus 11x plus 3. And I want you to apply the same method to solving question 3 and I want you to tell me the answer in the comment section. Don't forget, all you have to do, you multiply the first term and the last term. 6 times 3 gives us what? 18. We look for two numbers that when we multiply will give us 18, and when we sum will give us the middle number. Don't forget, it must what? Meet those two criteria. Look for two numbers that when you multiply will give us what? 18, and when you sum it gives us the middle number, which is what? 11. Now I'm going to just give you a little secret. Those two numbers, so what do you think are those numbers? Those numbers are simply what? 9 and 2. How do I know? 9 times 2 is what? 18, and 9 plus 2 is what? 11. So we are going to solve this question 3 using this method and using what I've said, and then I want you to show me the answer. I want you to tell me the answer in the comment section. Now let's move over to what? Question 4, which is a very interesting topic. So we have question 4. We have x squared minus 25. Now we are asked to factorize x squared minus 25. Now, when factorizing this kind of equation, this is an equation involving difference of 2 squared. This is an equation involving difference of 2 squared. Now, what do I mean by difference of 2 squared? Difference of 2 squared is simply when a perfect square is subtracting another perfect square. I didn't say adding, I say subtracting. That is why it is called difference, not summation, but difference. It is when what? One perfect square is subtracting another perfect square. Now that is why the difference of 2 squares is usually expressed as a squared minus b squared. And if this is simplified further, we are going to have that this is what? A minus b, or brackets, and a plus b, or brackets. If we open this bracket, you see that we'll see arrive at this. Now, most students believe or think, even most teachers, they believe or think that the difference of 2 squared can only be applied on numbers that have perfect square. And that is a wrong idea. I come again. Most students, most teachers believe that the difference of 2 squared can only be applied on numbers that are perfect square. And that's a wrong idea. Why? If you follow such mentality, it's going to limit you. No. The difference of 2 squared happens when a number can be expressed in a square of something. When I mean something, I'm talking about a number. When what? A number can be expressed in a square of something minus another square. Now, what do I mean? Now, let me give an example. 15 is not a perfect square, but 15 can be expressed using the difference of 2 squares. Now, what do I mean? 15 can be expressed as 16 minus 1. 16 minus 1 gives us what? 15. Now, let's express it. This is same thing as 4 raised to power 2 minus 1 raised to power 2. Using our law of difference of 2 squared, so this is what? 4 minus 1, and we have 4 plus 1. 4 minus 1 gives us 3. Don't forget you have a multiplication here. And then 4 plus 1 gives us what? 5. 3 times 5 is what? 15. So you can see that a number must not be a perfect square for it to be expressed using difference of 2 squared. Are you getting what I'm saying? Now, going back to our question, we have x squared minus what? 25. In order for us to solve this question, we are going to be introducing the difference of 2 squared. So this can be written as, we have x squared minus what? 5 raised to power what? 2. Because 5 raised to power 2 is simply what? 5 times 5. 5 in 2 places, which is what? 25. So we have this to be what? X minus 5 in one bracket, and we have x plus what? 5 in another bracket. And we have been able to factorize completely. And don't forget, I know I promised you that towards the ending of the video, I'm going to be showing you how to get the root of a quadratic equation. Now, I'm going to be using this as an example. Now, if, for example, we are done factorizing at this point, we have x minus 5 and x plus 5. And you are asked to find the root of the quadratic equation. All you have to do is to what? Equal each of this bracket to 0. So you'll be able to have what? The root. Now what do I mean? I will have that this is x minus 5 is equal to 0, or x plus 5 is equal to 0. Now this will be x, this is minus 5. If minus 5 crosses over this equal to sign, it becomes what? Plus what? 5. Plus 5 and 5 is same thing. Or we have that x is equal to what? This is plus 5. If plus 5 crosses over the equal to sign, it becomes what? Minus what? 5. And this is how to get the root of a quadratic equation. We've come to the end of this video. Hope you love this video. Ensure you like, subscribe, and also share. And also watch out for the part 2. Thank you very much.